to go into the issue of budgeting for the elections. Of course, we're seeing declining oil revenues have been putting pressures on government budgets generally. How much of this are we going to be feeling just as we get closer to the elections?
Yeah, we're feeling it very hard and harshly. Of course, the country is also looking for a way to take some loans at this point to finance some of the policies that we have. So, and you know that looking at 2015 election, we need a lot of money to execute that project smoothly. And this oncoming election is very critical to both the socio-political and economic life of this country. So we can't afford to get it wrong. So this year, more than ever before, we need to be able to implement our budget and achieve a minimum of 70–80% implementation, quite unlike previous years. Because we want to see a government that is willing to make a strong statement.
Have we had that level of implementation?
We've never.
How do we achieve that, especially now that we don't have much time?
That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. That if people who are holding offices today are serious about being elected, even though for me it's still not the long-term solution that we're looking for, because whether you're about to be elected or not, people should be able to run the budget to ensure economic development. But the issues we're having now is no longer about economic growth. We've been having fantastic growth rates in the past 10 years. Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. That is given. But what we need to see are leaders who are willing and able and strong enough to sacrifice their self-interest to ensure that we translate that growth into development, that we are able to execute projects in the rural areas, in our states, local governments, at national level, projects that will touch the lives of people. That's critical at this point in time. So that's going to strain our budget a little further this year, because government is worrying about bringing down the level of violence and bombing in this country. We're already asking for ₦1 billion loan to be able to do that, because we find that it's not well built into the national budget for this year. And mind you, that's a budget that already has over 77% of its component, being part of our recurrent expenditure budget, while capital expenditure is somewhere around 23%. So if you're also asking for, more money for security, that means that's eating much into capital expenditure, and little or nothing is left for infrastructure development, for energy resolution issues. Even though we have sold the energy assets, the power assets to private investors, but it's still a deadlock as to how do we initiate the change that we require. So these are issues. So the national budget for this year is hugely challenged. We want to see a government that tries as much as possible to make sure that every ministry, department, and agency of government must do their best to implement their budget, whether it's on road, on healthcare, on clean water provision, on housing. People need to feel happy going into 2015 election. If people are still, it's just that, as I said before, if you don't have a very strong opposition, whether we're happy or not, the confidence from these leaders or political managers is that they will still win anyway. That's why I want to see a credible opposition, a mature and wise opposition, an opposition that is based on principle, not on quarreling and on trying to complain all the time about anything that happens. If we have a strong opposition, the leaders are going to be adjusting their seats towards 2015. Okay. We cannot continue the way we're going to 2015. So for the current president and other leaders at state and local government level, it's important that we see these issues, projects being completed. Usually towards the election, people abandon existing projects and try to start new fake ones to attract us. I remember some time ago when somebody came down to Onitsha to launch the Second Niger Bridge project. Few days to the end of that government. It's not the right thing to do. Before election, we want to see all existing projects completed. We want to see Lagos-Ibadan Express completed. The Abuja, Lokoja, Kaduna Express completed. The airport project we're doing right now, all the airport improvement projects, to be completed before election. These are things that will make people, happy. The power project, people should be able to. The world and the village, the woman that grinds pepper, or all the local farmers, everybody should be able to see, energy available to be able to, execute their life projects, and that way poverty will be minimized. We want to see our universities well equipped, our secondary schools and public primary, education systems properly equipped, and teachers provided to teach these young people. We want to see people be able to send their children to school without much hassles. We want to see clean water provided in every nook and cranny of this nation. We want to see, all the things that will make life better. Healthcare. Now we're dealing with a very major outbreak. How is government responding to that? In a serious nation, even the response to Ebola is enough to decide who is serious about being elected again or not. We're talking about medical insurance here. Is it well documented and recorded so that doctors will feel confident to come and perform? We're talking about providing the next. If you see senior doctors who are handling the way they mask themselves, the way they dress, you know that there's no way that a virus can touch them. Okay. In this country, do we provide enough facilities to equip our nurses, our doctors to fight this outbreak?
All right.
This is important for anybody who wants to be re-elected.
All right, thank you, Orji. I want to believe that everything has been done to protect our health workers who may be attending to any identified Ebola patient. Okay. Thank you so much, Orji Udemezue,
You're welcome,
for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
Orji Udemezue is a financial and management consultant, and we've been looking at the pre-election period in relation to managing Nigeria's economy, being able to achieve growth, not just on a short-term basis, but on a longer term when the new, whoever comes in, whether as a governor or a president comes into office to rule or to lead the people for another 4 years. And that's been our package on Business Morning. Thank you so much for watching, for being a part of it. We do appreciate your time with us. I am Bolaji Akinwale.